So whether it's a career change, going through a breakup, leaving a marriage, or just going from fall to winter, these are transitions, and transitions happen both on the outside as well as on the inside. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through how you can navigate these three transitions so that you can go through them as smoothly and confidently as possible. So the first transition is a career change. And this is perhaps you're done with working for corporate or working for other people, and you want to step onto the entrepreneurial path and do it on your own. And so you might have a lot of internal fears around this, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I hope I make money, things like that. And so from experience, I can tell you that you can expect a lot of ups and downs, and that it's not going to be a straight line. You might be in between worlds for a while, where you need to pick up a part-time job here, a gig there, until your income is able to fully support you from your business. And what I would say as well is you might feel pressure to be a business owner and have an LLC to prove that. And I would just be careful about, is that really what you need and want? Or is that coming from social pressure and the fear of, like, what are other people going to think of me? So to make it easier, on the surface, what you can just say to people is, yes, I work for myself. Yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Even though you are still transitioning externally and internally to become this, because it's not their business and you don't owe them an explanation. And the next thing is, on the financial side, you might be used to having all of your money come from one paycheck or one company, but since you're going through this major transition, of course you're still going to have expenses and bills to pay, and you're going to need sources of money. So it's okay for it to come from a part-time job, a gig, and sometimes your business, until your business is able to fully support you and provide for you. And then just know that there's going to be another internal transition where, as a business owner, you're going to have to learn how to wear a lot of hats and have a lot of skills that maybe you didn't have in your corporate job or your other job. So it's going to be a big learning curve to learn all the skills that you'll need to become the business owner who you want to be. The solution is to be unconditional with yourself and non-judgmental with yourself as you go through this process. And so the next transition is about going through the breakup or the divorce. And this is an interesting transition because there are two people, right? So there's the person who's initiating the breakup, who has their own internal experience of, this is not what I want. Okay, I'm ready to end this. And so that person is going to be a little bit more prepared on the inside versus the other person who is probably not going to be prepared. And this is going to be a shock to them because they might not want the divorce or the breakup. And so while it would be great if you're on the same page and you're both like, yeah, you know what, this doesn't work for us, let's just part ways, I would say it's more likely that you can expect that this is going to be a process. And it could take some time, and it might not be a clean breakup because they might need to go through their 7 stages of grieving, which is anger, bargaining, before they get to acceptance, where they're going to try to get you back and say, I can fix this, or let's try to work things out. And just know for yourself that this is how you feel, you're done. You don't need to go through any more conversations. It's not going to change anything. So you can just stay the course. And then when you are finally and fully, completely done and broken up, you want to make sure that you've given yourself the appropriate amount of time to grieve, because as you were going through the breakup, you might have been so busy breaking up that you didn't have the time to grieve the end of this relationship. So you just want to make sure that your internal world is now matching your external world. And then the last transition is about seasonal depression. And so I'd say this is an abrupt transition because what happens is around that early November daylight savings time, the sun sets at 4:30. And so if you're a night owl like me, that's really depressing because that's like when your day gets going. That's when you start to have your peak energy. And so for me, I find that this is depressing because it makes me feel like, wow, no matter how hard I try and no matter what I do, I'm not able to get everything done in time. So for you, you'll want to take a step back and ask yourself, why does this make me upset? And a tip that I have for you is to talk to yourself out loud about it And so talking to yourself out loud will help because not only are you expressing your feelings, but you're also able to listen to yourself. And that just allows for stuff to come up that you didn't know was there. So when it comes to these transitions, whether it's the ones we talked about and even ones that we haven't, unfortunately, there's no way to prepare for transitions. You just have to get through them. But they're important because if there weren't transitions, you wouldn't be able to leave situations that you've outgrown or that don't make you happy anymore. Because, for example, when it comes to the career transition, you were a different person when you started working for a company or when you entered an industry. And now who you are is different, which is why you want to leave. And it's the same for a relationship. You want to have that breakup or go through that divorce because the person who you are today is not the same person who entered that relationship. And now you want different things. And you're learning that the relationship is not going to give you those things that you want. And then lastly, when it comes to that seasonal depression, that's really a matter of getting really real with yourself to say, like, where is this depression coming from? Is it really coming from the season, or is it coming from some kind of past experience that I've forgotten about? And that's where you want to sit with yourself and get quiet and listen to that feeling or listen to that depression to say, okay, you know what? Maybe this is highlighting a transition that I can make from being a sad person and leaving that behind to being a happier and more fulfilled person. And so these are the three major transitions and how to navigate them. And so if you found this video helpful, insightful, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to continue your journey of acceptance with this channel, you can simply hit subscribe. And other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you take really good care.